Why do they ask what you want to be when you grow up? Why do you hear that so much? From childhood to adolescence to your years when you're in high school and then college, there's this question: what do you want to be when you grow up? Why do they ask that? And who are they? You hear the word they a lot when you look at memes or when you look at social media posts. We see the word they, and it's always strange to see it because it's directed at a force, a force of power that is supposedly what's directing all of the influences at you that you as an individual are either trying to resist or trying to cope with. The they, for most people, they describe it very similarly. They, the government, the forces that be, the religious dogma, the influences in society that control the grander fabric, the matrix itself, the creator of the matrix, the agents that are in the matrix, propping up it. Because if they didn't prop it up, then it would fall apart like so, a very large and strange house of cards. Why do they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? So, if you think there's a they, it's probably because you're caught in the code. You're probably caught up in the code that this they is a part of. We naturally want to think that the government is sending out all these agents, it has all this money, and is taking all of our tax dollars, sending out all these agents, doing all these things to control us, to shift our opinion. They control the media completely. They control the internet completely. They decide what we get to say. And those who know the truth are in a minority. They always are. Always in a minority. And what we get to say is censored. And what you see is censored. Everything is censored. And behind that, they, and behind the censorship of the they, there is the majority. The majority just trying to express their opinion, just trying to get through a day, just trying to live a free life that they are not allowed to live because they, the government, the powers that be, are enforcing their censorship, not allowing us to speak freely, not allowing us to be who we are, and confining us to a very limited life that we somehow decide to be in regardless. We could leave social media. We could not watch the news. We could not even buy the products that are produced by companies that we despise so much. So, if we're mad about everything, then why do we participate? Why do we allow ourselves to fall in line if we despise the structure and the dots on the floor that show you where to stand? It's because while we despise our situation, while we despise the confines of our situation, and I'll talk about how much control is actually exerted by the they, while we hate our confines, we find ourselves unable to think beyond them. We hate the box, but we cannot imagine a world beyond it. So we give speeches and diatribes at this wall and that wall, the ceiling, the floor. We're angry at it all. But you rarely hear from people who are very vocal about this and constantly. What does the box look like on the outside? What is it to be outside of this line that has been drawn? How do you get there? Is it just rejecting everything that they say on the news? Is it just rejecting everything the government tells you? Is it just rejecting everything that all these companies want to sell you? Is it rejecting all of that? Let's say you reject all of that. What does the world look like on the outside? Most people don't know who diatribe against the walls and the ceiling and the floor. And it's a sad situation because no matter what political tendency you have, whether you're liberal, conservative, whether you're more anarchical, yeah, anarchical, let's go with that, or populist or libertarian, whatever you are, you're not really liking the box. Whatever political tendencies that I have, I tend to look at people's ideas of what things could look like outside of the box that they hate so much. Doesn't matter if they have the same views as me. By nature, I'm a pretty liberal person. But ultimately, deep down, I'm an anarcho-primitivist. I think that a lot of societal structure and hierarchy always leads to this box that we find ourselves in. But this video isn't necessarily about that. But libertarians or conservatives or liberals, far left, far right, whatever it is, right in the middle where most people are, whatever it is, they all rail against the system, even the politicians themselves. And that's why the politicians blame each other. That's why companies blame each other. That's why companies blame the government blames the companies. Because everybody is trapped inside of a box and there's an echo. And now the echo isn't yourself, but you're hearing a diatribe from the other side of the box, going back and forth. We are all, not all of us, but we got to realize that we're caught in the code. That's why we're saying things just like everyone else does. No matter what position they hold, whatever our position is, we're saying things that are very similar. Whether it be political, religious, maybe not spiritual, political, religious, societal, and structural, whatever it is, we're saying similar things and we have similar complaints as somebody that we view on the other side of the aisle, the box. And usually both sides view the other side as the ones who have created the box, when in fact we're all caught in the code. We analyze everything based on the confines and not based on what is outside of the confines. So when people ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? That in itself is an echo. And it only exists in a certain space that already exists, this box itself. So when we think about, jobs, careers, what do you want to be when you grow up? Usually, not usually, because I don't want to typify anybody, but a lot of people when they're very young will say I want to be an astronaut, because astronauts going into space, going beyond, going out into a place that people don't usually go. Or I want to be a bodybuilder, I want to be big and strong. You think about being big and strong. Or I want to be the mayor, and then you picture somebody at that podium in front of everybody else, speaking in a way that receives a lot of appreciation from the crowd. In all of these scenarios, astronauts, you don't really think about the part where I have to learn all these different mathematical equations. I'm very bad at math, by the way, that's why I'm not going into detail, but I have to learn all these mathematical equations. I have to learn how all these pieces of equipment operate. And I have to learn how to survive up there when it's very tedious and my resources are limited. And if I go 10 feet that direction and I don't have the proper sealants between me and the environment, I will die. And when you think about being a mayor, you don't think about all the emails you have to respond to, all of the events that you have to attend. We don't think about the little steps to that place. And I think that's the problem. When we imagine a better world, we don't imagine how to get there. when we imagine ourselves in a career, in a profession, we don't imagine all the little steps to get there, but also the little steps in that position to actually make it function, to actually do the job. We don't imagine all the little steps. We have big ideas, but not specific ideas. And a lot of the complaints people have are complaints that don't hash out the minutia. The only way that we're going to figure out what we want to be when we grow up, what we really want to be, that's not just a reflection of what our parents have told us, what society has told us, what society has said is valuable, and even body image, or how much you're supposed to make a year, or how much attention you're supposed to get. The only way we're going to figure out how to reach fulfillment is to not be within those confines of numbers, of the amounts of things. Because amounts make sense in this societal structure, don't they? This amount of viewers, this amount of money, this amount of votes, this amount of sales. It's always amount, more, more, more. And we want to increase the more within a box that has a ceiling to it. And the ceiling is not on the amount that we want more of, but the amount of ourselves that we can be. We are confined. When we think about early on and now what we want to be when we grow up, we have to really kind of redefine it for ourselves at this stage in our life when we're older, when we're past the childhood stage. Back then it was, we can't really understand deeper concepts, so we can't really see the box. But if we can see the box now, we have to stop imagining that what we're saying is not just an echo of the code. And a lot of people who are watching this won't believe this, if you think that there's somebody controlling everything. But so studying history to the extent that I have, and speaking to not speaking to people, that's very limited, but studying history to the extent that I have, and looking at the plans that people made and the products, and let's say, oh, all of history is just, written by people who want you to believe a certain way. Sure. Looking at the products and how things evolve, and the histories that just evolve that everybody agrees on. There's no group that really knows what they're doing. It's far scarier to understand that nobody knows what they're doing, that all government agencies are highly incompetent, than it is to imagine that somebody's controlling everything. If somebody's controlling everything, you have something to fight, and then you don't have to worry about what's outside the box. There's the box. I fight it, I get out. But the box doesn't actually exist. All of these government agencies, all of these agents, all of these people in power, they're all highly incompetent. I have this thing that I do. When I want to judge the competency of somebody, I will watch them in person, or I watch them online or on the TV. I won't make any comments. I will just watch them speak, watch their body language, listen to what they say, but watch them. And I look into their body language. I look into what they're saying, how they're saying it. I'll have no reactions. I'll just watch. And every single person I've watched for my entire life has been utterly incompetent. People imagine that they are snakes. They're blind snakes. Snakes, yes, but blind. And their tongues have been cut in half. They are entirely limited. They are incompetent. If there is a puppet master pulling the strings of the puppets that exist, that control the mechanisms of government, they are inept. They are unable to pull them in a way that benefits anything, even control. Control itself, the government in the United States does not have control of things. They don't control levers. They don't watch you. In fact, they don't even have the resources to watch everybody like many people think. Because I know many people who think that the government watches them online. It's like the NSA just looking to see if you have any disloyalty to the United States, and they're tagging it, logging it, and typing it out, or logging it in a book, writing down your name, writing down what you're doing. It's incorrect. I know just based on the government's reactions to things and what I see in society, and let's say everything that I see online is incorrect, sure. There is no control. And they don't have the funds to do it. What most people don't understand is that the police force that exists in every community, their power exists by mythology. The amount of police that is in every community around the United States anyway is such a small percentage of the community that they have no hope of actually policing any community, let alone controlling them. The military, let's say we have 5 million. Let's say there are 10 million, hell, 20 million active duty soldiers in the United States Army. 20 million. Let's say that this 20 million is not even backed up. Usually it takes 17 other people to keep one soldier in the field or one soldier active. Let's say there are 20 million actually active, boots on the ground, personnel, keeping people alive across the United States. That is not enough to hold the United States. Not even close. You need around 75 million of boots on the ground to occupy the United States. They don't have that. So, and keep in mind that also people in the military are human beings just like us, and they also have various allegiances. They're not brainwashed. And like some people think that everybody else is brainwashed, but we're all kind of playing into the code. If you're watching this, if you vote, if you're mad at the other party, if you're mad at the social media platform that you keep on going to regardless, you're part of the code. That might be hard for some of you to believe, but that is the truth. And you're hating the box that you're supporting. I support the box. I'm not saying I'm different, but that is the truth. So the amount of police officers that exist in every community is not enough to hold the community, not enough to hold everybody in line. The amount of people that are watching cameras, the amount of cameras themselves, not enough to actually watch a community. You have to really get down to the minutiae of numbers to think about this, but it's scarier for people who are paranoid to see that there is nobody pulling the strings. Everybody is incompetent. That is scarier than thinking that the government or some kind of authority is pulling the strings. That's scarier. But they don't realize that, and it's fine. If you want to address the question of what you want to be when you grow up, let's say that you're addressing it in an adult way. What do I actually want? Well, first layer. Am I just wanting this to get attention? Am I just wanting this for money? Am I just wanting this to get things, or perhaps to get a male, to get a female? That's the first layer. If that satisfies you, then you're good. The box, go by the code of the box. Next level. Am I doing this because I have a deeper spiritual understanding? My third eye opened? Do I want to ascend, become enlightened? And am I just happy with what I'm doing? Is this just temporary? Or am I satisfied with the limited amount of things I have to do in order to produce this amount of comfort? If you are, and you have a spiritual path, then you're good on that level, because it's like, okay, just get a little bit of money, have this amount of satisfaction, know this amount of people, but then work my spiritual path so that I can evolve. That's that level, and you satisfy that level. That's not a bad level. None of these levels are evil or bad. But, you know, this level in society where you're just like, okay, I get enough money. That's kind of where I'm at, actually. Get enough money, I'm good, and I'm working my spiritual path. I'm not really concerned about getting too much. I'm not really concerned about getting super popular or getting a very attractive person to be with. You know, I'm good. I'm getting the amount that I need with my job and with the education that I'm going through to kind of be satisfied with where I'm at, and I continue to work my spiritual path. Above that, and there are many levels above that, is people who are just like, I'm done with it all. I'm done with the box. I'm going to go find a guru and I'm going to renounce this world because I'm tired of the box. It's scary because there's so many people that think that the box is controlled by globalists and a select few who are pulling the strings of everything and trying to rule the world. And well, they're not as afraid of that as they are afraid of that nobody's actually controlling it and it's just in their head, and that it's just the code that they've accepted and they support and that they're promoting with their activities, with their support of media, with their support of products they buy, with the support of societal standards that they uphold. That's scarier. They don't want to look at themselves. That's the problem. And if enough people don't want to look at themselves, they'll try to look at the other side of the box and blame that, while not looking beyond that wall of the box, beyond that ceiling, beyond that floor, but looking at somebody else in the box and saying it's their fault, or that there's somebody controlling this box, when we're just like a bunch of gerbils and we're all bouncing around inside the box and the box is rolling down a hill and we imagine that somebody's making it roll. No. We're in this box. We are deciding to remain in it. And that third layer, like I said, there's a reason why people find gurus or go out into the mountains and don't come back and get away from the box. Because the box isn't about overthrowing the box. It's about getting out of that state of thinking. It's about getting outside of the code that almost most of humanity supports. If you want to be a CEO, ask yourself why. If you want to be an astronaut, ask yourself why. If you want to be a teacher, ask yourself why. If you want to be a produce clerk, ask yourself why. If you want to be somebody who irons suits, ask yourself why. If you want to be an undertaker, ask yourself why. There's not something wrong with being in the code. Just understand that you can be in the code and still find a spiritual path. Do not expect anything that you do in this code of society to provide you with the fulfillment that you want. Everybody wants fulfillment. Do not expect society to give you that, no matter what you do within it, no matter who you become within it, no matter if you shoot for the stars. Don't imagine that those stars are going to fall so that you can reach them. Because even if you did reach them, you still wouldn't be satisfied. You wouldn't be fulfilled. So whatever you do, whatever job you do, whatever kind of career you pursue, whatever kind of function that you are within the societal structure, even if it's a religious function, even if you're a priest or religion is still inside the box. It's going to anger some people, but it's true. Religion is very societal. It's not personal. It's not personal and spiritual. But don't imagine that any of these things will give you fulfillment. The only fulfillment that you can find is in self-realization that does not draw upon people's support and love of you, of thinking that you're a great person and you're awesome. If you're seeking validation from others in the box, there's no level of validation that will satisfy you. You have to seek a spiritual path beyond the box, or a path that does not involve other people being like, yes, you're a good person. Oh, you're great. Or, oh, teach me something. everybody wants to be a goddamn teacher or a prophet or somebody to be looked up to. Who are you by yourself? Who are you without the poison of other people? And I don't mean that all other people are poisonous, but if you're looking for validation, they might as well be poison. You can enjoy another person's company, you can talk to them. But if most of what you do, even if a portion of what you do is seeking validation from someone else, then it becomes a poisonous relationship. It becomes a vice. It becomes something that you want more and more of and will never be satisfied. Who are you by yourself in a cabin with no access to anyone else? And do you feel like there are other dimensions there are other dimensions, there are other worlds, there are spirits, there are gods? Do you feel like not talking about these other dimensions and gods and spirits? Do you feel like you by yourself in a cabin, connected to no other human being, can be satisfied in and of yourself as you plunge within yourself in meditation and rituals and connecting to other things? Or do you feel like you need humanity to validate you? What do you want to be when you grow up? A big part of actually growing up is realizing that the question is mute. Not mute, moot. The real question is, who are you? And can you be you without everyone else? Thank you very much for watching, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.